Being the official theme song for RWBY Volume 2, Time to Say Goodbye, once again, is debated as to whose perspective it's from. Some people believe it's Summer, others RWBY, and some don't think it's even supposed to have a specific point of view. It's just meant to be a broad generalization. But I believe Time to Say Goodbye is told from the perspective of RWBY in a time we have yet to see. Future RWBY, as it were.
There's a point where it tips, there's a point where it breaks, there's a point where it bends, and a point we just can't take anymore.
Everything has its own limits as to how far it can go. If you push something enough, at some point it will tip. Apply pressure to something and it'll bend. But in all these scenarios, there's a point in which the limit is reached. The world doesn't function on tools and objects that can just do something indefinitely. Everything has a limit in which it can be pushed to, including people.
There's a line that will cross and there's no return. There's a time and a place, no bridges left to burn anymore.
When trying to accomplish something, there is always a line as to how far you will go to succeed. You may be willing to do a lot of things, but not everything, because if you do everything, there's a point of no return. If you really are willing to do anything, not everything will be seen as justifiable. Is accomplishing your goal worth cutting ties with all those you care about and making enemies with those who considered you a friend? There's a line that RWBY will go to help stop Salem, but she's not willing to burn all these bridges and make enemies with everyone to do so. There's an urgency RWBY has. Having already lost 2 friends, she knows the stakes that are at risk, while Ozpin and the adults still see them all as kids who need more training before they're ready. RWBY is saying there's no time for training. All the time we spend training, the enemies spend getting stronger for a storm that continues to grow even more deadly as time goes on. They can't wait any longer, they have to do this now. Where RWBY and her friends were all once innocent, youthful children, that's now gone. They have to get rid of the things that they once cared about so they can fight in this war. They can no longer be and act like kids. It's time for them to become adults. Time already moves fast enough for everyone, but when you add that on top of having to fight in a war, going from childhood into training to the battlefield is a lot shorter of a time span than most other things in Remnant seem to be. Knowing what is out there and the people who are trying to cause harm, they can no longer be blissfully ignorant as to the things that are happening. Knowing of such people, they now need to act upon it and put a stop to it before any more harm comes. You can't win every battle. In some battles, some may fall and you're forced to crawl away. But not every day is going to be like that. They will stand and they will fight. The people will no longer cower in fear of the grim and those who wish to do harm. A day like that will come inevitably where everyone will stand and fight. People can be pushed too far where they lose control and go all out, whether it be intended or not. Take for example when Pyro was killed and RWBY unleashed her silver eyes. That was a moment in which RWBY wasn't holding back because she wasn't trying to. As previously stated, there is a line that can be crossed, and if the enemy specifically crosses that line, sometimes the filter that is on someone can go away. There's a point of no return for everyone. Some people may cross a line too far that there's no more going back for them. As much as I'm sure they enjoyed being and acting like kids, it's an option that is no longer available to them. They know that Salem's forces are only growing larger as she inches closer to her goal. Humanity is in the way of harm and the fight isn't even close to ending. So, it's time for them to stop acting like children and fight this fight and protect the inhabitants of Remnant before they're all wiped out. Despite everything that was stated previously about having to leave so much behind to protect the people, this verse questions everything. We are told that humanity is going to be wiped out if we don't protect it. But what if that's a lie? Are we even people to you anymore, or do you just see us as weapons to be used? If one weapon dies, you'll just pick up and use another one. The ultimate goal is being put into question. Is this war really what you say it is? Or are you trying to claim your own personal victory and goal? They've said goodbye to everything, their childhood, peace, some friends and family, but for what? A lie? I do believe this song is told from the perspective of RWBY in the near future due to particularly a few verses. But I can also see this being from Summer as well, but I do believe it's RWBY's. How her and everyone have to get rid and say goodbye to so much so they can become skilled huntsmen for this war. But ultimately, what if everything is just one big lie? Only time will tell. So there you have it, that was the meaning and breakdown of Time to Say Goodbye. So what do you guys think of the song? Be sure to let me know down in the comments, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're interested in more content like this, follow me on all social medias, and I'll see you in the next video.